welcome to the news updates in AFRICUNIA television, bringing you updates from our studio here in the nation's commercial capital, Lagos, Nigeria. And I'm Deborah Ezeh. Looking into the African scene, 2 days after former President Goodluck Jonathan got a reprieve from a federal high court removing the constitutional obstruction that now makes him eligible to contest 2023 presidency, President Muhammad Buhari has distanced himself from any plots to draft Jonathan into the All Progressives Congress presidential race. Indications have emerged that while few APC members, including a northern governor, are behind the push to draft Jonathan into the ruling party's presidential primary, a presidency source late on Sunday, however, revealed that President Buhari has taken measures to distance himself from the plot. It was disclosed that instructions have consequently been given that there shall be no public release of photos of any meetings between the former president and the incumbent, as the president does not want such images to be used to confer any modicum of support to the plot to get Jonathan into the race. There are also concerns that the aides of the ex-president are involved in actively keeping the plot alive in the media by releasing photos of his visit to the APC chairman, Senator Abdullahi Adamu and Alhaji Mamman Daura, to insinuate that these two gentlemen are in support of the plot. However, while speculative news reports have claimed the APC has granted Jonathan waiver to join the presidential race, even though he is not known to have properly fulfilled membership requirements, there has not been any formal confirmation that he submitted the presidential nomination forms or whether it will be included in the screening expected to happen this week. Still in politics in Nigeria, organizations clamoring for power shifts to the south on Sunday expressed anger over the emergence of a former vice president, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, as the 2023 presidential candidate of the opposition People's Democratic Party. During the PDP presidential primary held at the Moshood Abiola Stadium on Saturday, Atiku polled 371 votes to defeat the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, who got 237 votes, a former president of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, 70 votes, the Akwa Ibom State Governor Emmanuel Udom, 38 votes, the Bauchi State Governor Bala Muhammad, 20 votes, a former secretary to the government of the Federation, Aim Pius Aim, 14 votes, and ex-president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, 1 vote. The Nigeria Equity Group, in a statement by its national convener, Emeka Wonsu, and National Secretary Mohammed Mubarak, criticized the candidacy of Atiku, saying the power should shift to the south after the two-term tenure of Buhari. Now, civil rights advocacy group, Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, also faulted the process that produced Atiku. The group said it was disappointing that officers of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission showed up at the venue of the primary in Abuja but failed to arrest anyone. The group also warned the ruling APC to move against a northern candidate and make a southerner its president candidate or presidential candidate in the spirit of fairness and to preserve the unity of Nigeria. Away from Nigeria, Sudan's leading general lifted Sunday a state of emergency that was imposed in the country following the October coup he led. The country experienced over the weekend yet another day of protest against the military coup. The decision by General Abdel Fattah Burhan, head of Sudan's ruling sovereign council, came hours after the Security and Defense Council, Sudan's highest body that decides on security matters, suggested. The news came the same day as the UN envoy for Sudan regretted the killing of 2 anti-coup protesters in Khartoum Saturday. The 2 were killed during a protest in Khartoum's Kalakla neighborhood. One was shot dead by security forces and the other suffocated after inhaling tear gas, according to the Sudan community, which is part of the pro-democracy movement. The lifting of the state of emergency comes after repeated calls by local groups and foreign governments, the UN, the African Union, and the 8-nation East African Regional Group called the Intergovernmental Authority in Development, having been leading concerted efforts to bridge the gap between the two sides and find a way out of the impasse. Still on the African scene, the decision by the Congo to cut ties with Rwanda has elicited mixed reaction. Kinshasa on Friday altered all Rwanda air flights from the country, urging Kigali's involvement in supporting the M23 rebel group in the eastern part of the vast nation. Rwanda Defense Force later said 2 soldiers had been kidnapped on patrol and were being held by democratic forces for the liberation of Rwanda, another rebel group active in the eastern DRC. Kinshasa has regularly accused Rwanda of carrying out incursions into its territory and of backing armed groups there. More than 120 armed groups roam volatile eastern DRC, many of which are legacy of regional wars more than 2 decades ago. Relations had begun to thaw after DRC President Felix Tshisekedi took office in 2019, but the recent resurgence of M23 violence has reignited tensions. We now head to the foreign scene, where rescue workers in Nepal on Monday recovered 14 bodies as they scored a remote Himalayan mountainside scattered with the wreckage of a small plane that crashed with 22 aboard, with officials saying the chance of finding survivors was slim. Operated by privately owned Tara Air, the aircraft went down during cloudy weather on Sunday and was spotted by Nepal's army earlier Monday after search operations that were halted overnight were resumed. The plane took off in the morning for a 20-minute flight but lost contact with the control tower 5 minutes before it was due to land. The airline said the plane was carrying 4 Indians, 2 Germans and 16 Nepalese, including 3 crew. Soldiers from the Nepal Army and other rescue workers were operating in difficult mountainous terrain at an altitude of around 14,500 feet with a heavy cloud cover. And now moving on, European Union members should be able to reach an agreement on new sanctions package against Russia, including imposing restrictions on Russian oil imports during talks being held by officials, the bloc foreign policy chief said on Monday. European Union governments failed to reach an agreement on an embargo on Russian oil on Sunday as they seek to prepare an agreement in time for an EU summit. A proposal under discussion among EU countries on Sunday evening would ban Russian oil delivered to the EU by sea by the end of the year, but exempt oil delivered by the Russian Druzhba pipeline, which supplies Hungary, Slovakia and Czechia. We have to take the individual circumstances of everybody, that is the EU member, into account, Borrell said, adding that an EU-wide solution should give the 3 countries, which accounted for 7% to 8% of Russian oil imports, more time to adjust. Still on the foreign scene, the World Health Organization has said that monkeypox constitutes a moderate risk to overall public health at global level after cases were reported in countries where the disease is not typically found. As of May 26th, a total of 275 confirmed cases and 120 suspected cases have been reported from 23 member states that are not endemic for the virus. There have been no reported fatalities so far, and WHO also said that the sudden appearance of monkeypox at once in several non-endemic countries suggests undetected transmission for some time and recent amplifying events. The agency added that it expected more cases to be reported as surveillance in endemic and non-endemic countries expands. Most of the cases reported so far have been detected in the UK, Spain, and Portugal. Now away from the foreign scene, now onto the sports scene. Sadio Mane has not told Liverpool he wants to leave amid links with a move to Bundesliga champions Bayern Munich. Liverpool are expecting to contact from the German club, but wants more than 30 million euros, that is 35 million pounds, being quoted to contemplate doing a deal for the Senegal international, who has 12 months left on his current deal. Bayern are expected to offer Mane a contract until the summer of 2025. They anticipate an initial offer of 30 million euros plus 5 million euros and 10 million euros in bonus payments. Mane hinted on Wednesday he would announce a special decision on his long-term plans after the Paris showpiece, but following the 1-0 defeat at the Stade de France, the forward did not make any appearance in front of the media. Manager Jurgen Klopp was asked about the Bayern rumors at his pre-match press conference in Paris, and his answer was non-committal. And finally, Super Eagles' new manager Ezeh is satisfied with the performance of his team despite a 1-2 loss to Mexico. In Pesero's first game as Nigeria's senior team manager, the Super Eagles, assembled barely 4 days to yesterday's early morning game, put up a gusty performance but lost through an own goal to the North Americans, who were preparing for the Qatar 2022 World Cup. Speaking after the match played at the AT&T Stadium, Nigerian Football Federation President Amaju Pinnick said, "I am happy with what we put out there. It was the first time after disappointment of the World Cup playoff, and you can say this is a makeshift team, while Mexico had their full-strength squad out there." End of quote. Nigeria had 8 shots on goal compared to Mexico's 12, while Uzoho made 4 saves as against Costa's 1. The Eagles were scheduled to fly to New Jersey yesterday morning ahead of Thursday's clash with Ecuador at the Red Bull Arena in Harrison. And that concludes the news update today on AFRICUNIA Television. And for more information on our top stories and other programs, you can watch AFRICUNIA Television News on our YouTube channel on www.youtube.com/africunia.tv. You can also follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, respectively. Link us up on www.africunia.tv. Once again, I am Deborah Ezeh. Many thanks for joining me.